for the YouTube subscribers. Also subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Vegas 48 back at the Apex after a pay-per-view card in Houston, Texas. We did lose the main event on this fight, guys. Faez versus Dos Santos. But we do have a decent card. I'm lying. We don't have the best card. Walker versus Hill is the main event now. It was the co-main. This is not really a main event, but we could see some fireworks in this fight. Definitely could see a knockout. I don't expect this to go all 5. We'll talk about that shortly. Breakdowns, free plays, leans are coming up here. Nice run right now, guys. Nice run. 9-1. 9-1 all fights. And coming off a best bet winner last weekend on Cannonier and O'Neal. 2-fight parlay at even money. I didn't love Cannonier at the minus, I think, 170. I avoid betting straight bets at minus 170. Usually anything over 150 I get worried about. So we find a nice 2 parlay partner, and it was O'Neal. I did think she was going to win the fight easily. I wouldn't say it was as easy as I thought it was going to be, but she won fairly easily. I thought she won all 3 rounds. Some people say she won only 2. I debate that, but either way, we got it done. Kenya looked a little shaky. He looked a little shaky early in the first round. Brunson was able to wrestle, but Ken, when he catches you, he has power. He has power and he has strength, and he was able to get up from Brunson, unlike other guys that Brunson would face, and he was just able to take him down. But in this case, Cannonier, too strong. So big win there. Perfect card last week on the sides and round totals. Israel stays king. He stays king, champ at 185. We were on the Israel side in a 2-fight parlay, but also decision. We got that at plus 150. Tons of value there. I knew this wasn't going to be a quick knockout like last time in the second round. I did think I gave this out last week to you guys for free as well. And Israel, he did enough. Some people said Whitaker won the fight. They're crazy, I think. He did not win that fight at best. 3-2 Israel. I thought it was 4-1 Israel. Some people say 3-2. Okay, I get it. Maybe it was 3-2, but Israel won that fight. No threat from Whitaker. He did take him down a couple times, but never kept him there. So I don't really look at those too much. It was a close fight, except for the first round. Right, first round Israel destroyed him. But overall, Israel won the fight, kept the belt, and I do think he fights Cannonier next. So definitely looking forward to that. Co-main, Tuivasa, guys. He caught Lewis. That was definitely a little bit surprising. How it ended, I think. Right, an elbow. He caught him clean. I didn't bet a side. I didn't have a side on that fight. I did like the fight, obviously, to end before the decision. It wasn't going to be a decision. I don't know if the under 1.5 hit. I think it did. I think it ended around 3 minutes. But a lot of people thought it would be out of the first round. It definitely didn't get out of the first round. So I do think probably some people lost on that. But Tuivasa was a good dog choice there. And he caught him with a nice clean elbow. He's going to get a top 5 guy next. So definitely excited for him there. Guys, let's get into it. Let's get into the weekly update like always. I update my record every week live on here, guys. I update it every week on YouTube, on Instagram, and on my website. Every week it's updated, so you can come here and find out how system capping is doing. It's been a big past month, I mean. Last week was great, of course, but just overall it's been very, very good. UFC 65% best bets lifetime. We moved back up to 65% from 64. Just under 44 units. 9-1 client run, which I mentioned earlier. And if you want to look at a longer term run, I keep all different stats. 65 and 37 long term run. NFL, guys. What an ending to the year. What an ending to the year with a Rams outright winner, plus 1,200 for clients. Start of the year. Bengals plus 4. Ticket as well. Everything went perfect. Shout out to the clients that enjoyed a great NFL year. 71% playoffs. 22-9. All bets, props are included and everything. 7-0 regular season futures. 48 and 22 run to end the year. Last 7 weeks, 69%. Free play underdogs. If you just view my video every week, I gave out underdogs, teasers. My underdog outright winners, 13 and 3. 81%. That's plus 110 or higher. Plus 110 or higher. We hit some plus 160 underdogs. Underdog outright 13 and 3. That's, I'm not going to lie, I'm even a little bit surprised. I knew it would be profitable, but 81% just on the underdogs, it's somewhat outrageous. Plus 43.1 units on the year. That's including the futures as well. It's a great year. This is my second best year that I had, that I can remember at least. NBA 66% on the year. Lower volume. Tough loss with the Warriors last night. They were winning all game from 7 to 11 points. They were up by 7 points with 2 minutes left and end up losing the game outright. Wild. Lower volume in both NHL and NBA. NHL, 64% low volume. I pick my spots with NBA and NHL. Situational betting in the NBA and NHL. It was a great situation for Golden State last night. It doesn't always happen. It doesn't always win, right? But when you hit anywhere from 60 to 70%, you're laughing. You're good. You're profiting. And that's what I do. That's what I do with the system here. PGA, nice weekend last week in the prop market. 69% best bets over 2 years now, 2.5 years. One pending this weekend, guys. 67 units prop market total. PGA has been good. Still looking for that outright winner to start the year. Outright come in bunches. Sometimes you won't win an outright for months. But when you win a couple in a row, it just makes up for it and you should profit long term. Last year we hit some huge outrights. We missed out on 2 outrights in January. Both second place finishes, both losers in a playoff. Tough. Those would have been plus 40, plus 4,000 and plus 3,500 on those. So yeah, we'll hit the outright market. I'm hoping this month. Guys, some big news in the world of system capping. And it's on the marketing and promotional side. The way to grow is to market yourself and promote yourself. And we've teamed up with Cheyenne Velismus, formerly Cheyenne Buys, which you guys may know better, in the strawweight division, 115. She will be marketing and promoting for me, which is great. Hopefully when she gets in there and back in the ring and fights, I'll get a shout out from her after the fight. So she'll be promoting me on her social media and whatnot. So look out for that. Go follow her if you're not. You'll definitely like her Instagram and any of her social media. So I'm very excited for that. It's big news for me. Obviously, it does cost money and it is expensive when you have almost 200,000 followers, a blue checkmark, and you're a professional athlete. But that's the way to grow. That's the way to grow. I already have a nice client list right now, and I do have a good following. Obviously, I want to grow on YouTube and stuff. I'm trying to grind my way to grow on this. Obviously, the numbers aren't where I want them to be, but I do have a lot of clients that aren't social media guys, and they just get my emails, right? So yeah, I'm very excited for that. I'm going to be working with her now. Maybe I'll get another fighter and even another athlete in another sport eventually. But we're growing here. We're growing here at the system. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Systemsportscapping.com, guys, to become a client today and start profiting long-term in the sports betting market. Roughly 5% of bettors do, and I am one of them year after year. Like, comment, and share as well. It helps me out a lot. I just want to give shout out to all my clients, also my video viewers that tune in each week. It is much appreciated. Quick shout out to all my new clients from the Cheyenne promotion. Thank you guys for that. Big shout out also to Alex or Art that just jumped on for a full year. I know you watch my videos, so shout out to you. Walker, let's get into the main card, guys. Let's get right into the main card. Walker plus 2,000 I lied. Plus 200. Imagine it was plus 2,000. I would definitely have a bet on that. Walker plus 200 versus Hill minus 240. Oh, a little high here on Hill. Definitely can't bet the Hill side. I'll get into it quickly here, guys, for you guys. This has been moved to the main event slot due to the fight's visa issues. Rafael Fiziev has some visa issues that I'm hearing, but it will be sorted out by the next pay-per-view apparently. A solid co-main event, I think, for a UFC Fight Night card, but not a main event fight in my opinion. Looking at this price, there's just no way I can bet Hill, even though I think, I do think he should win the fight. However, there are some things I want to talk about Walker. Why I do think he has a shot in this fight. Because there's tons of value at plus 200, right? And he's going to be very desperate for a win here, guys. 1-3 in his last 4 fights, losing to some solid names. Corey Anderson, who's now in Bellator, but if I do recall, I don't really follow Bellator a ton, but I do think he's a champion over there. Krylov, who just used his wrestling in that fight to get the win, and in the Santos fight, which we seen last time, where he just didn't pull the trigger. He didn't pull the trigger enough, and I don't like the reason why I favor Hill slightly, even though the value's with Walker, and if I had to bet this fight, it would be Walker just because of the value. I don't know if his camp is approaching his style well. We know what Walker does, right? He's wild, he's energetic, and he will land some big shots with big power, and you kind of have to let him be wild and free. Now, not as wild as he used to be when he first started out, but you have to allow him to use some of that athleticism and use that power in the fight. They took that away from him against Santos. I know Santos has a heavy power and Walker doesn't have the best chin, but they didn't allow him to be free. They just made him work his jab, move around, and I didn't like what they did. This is John Kavanagh. His team, McGregor's team, he moved there. Walker's been all over the place. He's been fighting in TriStar. He's been fighting in another gym. Now he moved to Ireland to fight. He's just all over the place, and he hasn't found his team. He hasn't found his ground, and I don't know if this is the right style for him. Fight behind his jab, not use a ton of volume, try to use some leg kicks, but he didn't use enough leg kicks against Santos. It just looked like he was scared to throw. Because yes, Santos does have power, and Walker doesn't have a big chin, but he had no chance to win that fight how he was fighting. And if he goes against Hill with that same game plan, he probably will lose as well. Hill, similar style to Santos, similar style. He has power. He can move well on his feet. We don't see a ton of grappling and wrestling from him. We don't really see that from either guy. But it'll be interesting to see if Walker maybe tries to mix that in. But Walker's going to have to go in there and have that some sort, not as much as a reckless style as he had previously, but it has to be mixed in. He has to be able to use that power, not just work off a jab. Otherwise, Hill's going to win with the bigger shots and I think the more meaningful shots. So the plus 200 is very attractive when you're kind of in a do or die situation, guys. He's in a do or die situation. I do expect that coaching staff to have a better game plan than last time versus Santos. And I expect Walker to be better in this fight than the Santos fight. Now, if I had to bet this fight, if you just tell me it's minus 110, yeah, I'm going to take Hill. But with this current line, I have to look, if I was going to bet it, I'm not saying I'm going to bet this fight, it would have to be a smaller unit play on Walker at plus 200 due to the value. This is only a value bet. I'm not saying I'm going to bet it. I'm just going to give you guys my reasoning because it's the main event. So I'm going to give you guys, a play because it's the main event. It hasn't made my client card as of yet. I don't think it will. If it does, it will be a small play on Walker plus 200, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hill catches him. With a big shot. Remember, Walker's chin is suspect. But you got to look at Walker's situation. 1-3, desperate, hopefully went back to the drawing board and changed some things up. So there's value here because of that at plus 200. And I don't think this fight's going to go the distance, guys. Expect a somewhat earlier finish from either guy. Co-main is now Daukaus Minus 270 versus Pickett, plus 220. You know, I got to look at Daukaus here if I was going to bet it in this matchup. Pickett's is coming off back-to-back wins, sure. However, it's against lower-level competition in Staropola and Holmes. And they're both by decision. They weren't too impressive. I went back and watched those fights. You know, Daukaus has been up and down in the UFC so far. However, looked good versus Holland before it was a no contest. That was tough. That was a tough call. That no contest against Holland. I did think he was going to win that fight. He was on his way to winning that fight. It would have been a good check on his resume. The fight against Hawes, he looked okay at times, but Hawes' wrestling was a little too much. And then he did have that win against Stolfus, which was a decent performance. Price is tough to bet, right? You can't really bet this straight, of course. Minus 270. You got to get creative. How you get creative? Maybe 2-fight parlay. With Daukaus. Outcome's very tough. Very tough. However, where I think Daukaus has the advantage is if this fight gets to the ground. Daukaus is very good on the ground. We've seen Pickett submitted before. Pickett's been submitted. He's like a blue belt, if I recall. Daukaus is a solid black belt. So if Daukaus could somehow get this to the ground, he could submit Pickett. I wouldn't be surprised. But if he doesn't, I think he wins on volume. And I think he does win this fight. Just the price does suck, and it probably most likely will draw me out of a bet on this fight. Jim Miller is back, guys. Yes, Jim Miller is back at plus 150 versus Moda, minus 175. Jim Miller, doesn't he seem like he's always around? He seems like he's always on a card at 38. Miller's coming off a KO win versus Gonzalez, but before that, he was on back-to-back losses versus Selecki and Paschal. This could be a tough fight for Miller versus a young Moda. Miller will want to try and get this to the ground, in my opinion, to look for a submission or use some of his wrestling. He doesn't want to stand and bang with this guy, even though we have seen Miller improve in the striking and can hold his own. But I think Moda, that's where he has the advantage. It's on the feet. Value with Miller here, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he cashes this. He always cashes as underdog. Right, it's rare that Miller's a big favorite. I usually catch him on spots as an underdog. However, I'm going to stay off this fight. I'm not going to bet either side. If you're going to ask me for a play here, I'm going to take the younger, the flashier, and the guy that, you know, some say does have a solid future in the UFC, and that's Moda. You can't bet it at minus 175. You have to stay away from that. It's just because Jim Miller time. He gets his fight to the ground. He could submit Moda. Miller's one of the best guys on the ground in the UFC, even at 38. So this is, you know, Moda's first fight. It's going to be tough to bet him against a veteran like Miller. But, you know, if the price didn't matter, I'm going to take Moda just due to his upside and being the younger guy in there. Parker Porter, minus 260 versus Budo, plus 210. This falls right under my classic mid or low tier heavyweight fights to stay away from. You know, the right guy's favorite here, okay, in Porter. He's been looking okay as of late. He's been looking good. Back-to-back wins over Sherman and Parison, which are low tier guys, sure. But he's been throwing some volume. He's been looking all right, and he's been going distance. He's been showing cardio. Both of those wins are by decision, guys. So that's why I can't jump on an outcome finish here. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to another decision. It's just Budo. He's been looking very sluggish. He just hasn't been looking good. I look back at his fights, not that great. Obviously, he had that one debut fight, did not look good. I look at some of his other fights too. Just not a good fighter, guys. Below tier guy, you know, low level tier guy. And Porter's been looking okay. He has the experience now in the UFC. I would have to go with Porter here to win the fight. We just can't bet it at minus 260. And I don't want to force a mid-tier, low-tier fight in a 2-fight parlay just because anything can happen. Budo could catch him. He did look a little better in his last fight on the feet. It's not a fight I'm going to be betting, guys. But for the video's sake and for a play, give me Porter. And a fun one to open up the main card. I'm pretty sure this is opening up the main card. I do know it's on the main card. If it's not, I'll talk about it anyways. This is not a great card, guys. There's not a lot of good fights on this card. Hard to find a ton of value, but we do get creative and we'll find a few plays for my clients and for you guys on here. We should see fireworks in this one. Buckley minus 150 versus Rakic plus 125. This one going to the distance, I doubt it. I definitely don't see this one going to the distance. I see a knockout in the first or second round. Rakic, that's all his fight. If Rakic wins the fight, it's by knockout in the first round. That's what he's going to have to do here. He's coming off a big head kick KO over Di Chirio, who Buckley actually lost to. Buckley did lose to him in that fight. If Rakic catches you clean, you're knocked out. Good night. Before that fight, Rakic lost 3 in a row. Keep that in mind. This is kind of a must-win situation for the guy. Buckley, I do think he's a bit overhyped due to that head kick win that he had that went viral over Impa. He is 3-1 though in his last 4 fights. However, I can't say he looked great in them. He caught guys a little later in the fights, but he hasn't looked good. He looks beatable in my opinion, and I do think he can lose to a guy that has a ton of power that can catch him. The fight isn't going all 3, but you pay for it at minus 300. Could it sneak into a 2-5 parlay if I can find a piece? Maybe. But stay away from a side on this one, guys. Either you can find a KO price if you can get a decent price, but this is a flip of a coin who's going to win this fight. Flip of a coin, to be honest. So value with Rakic, if I'm telling you it's a flip of a coin, plus 125, there's value there. A side won't be bet on my side. I won't be betting a side on this. I may look at the under 2.5 or the fight not to go the distance if I can make sense of it in a 2-fight parlay and find a nice piece. But as of right now, this fight is not going to make my betting card from a side standpoint. That will do it, guys. That will do it for this card. Only one video a week. I may get into a PGA video if I can get some eyes on it, because obviously NFL's done. NFL was obviously my most viewed sport, along with UFC as well. But now it's just going to be one a week, so I'm going to give you guys the updates every week on how everything's going in the system. I'll give maybe some future picks. I'll switch it up, but obviously all breaking down the UFC cards like normal. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Do all that fun stuff. Subscribe, share, comment, help me out a lot. And like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.